Hi, Scorpios, and welcome to your January 2020 General Tarot Forecast. This is Sky here to speak a little bit about your energies coming up in the month of January. And yeah, we've got a lot of energy coming up for you, a lot of different paths you could walk down, a lot of different options, a lot of different stability you can create for yourself here. And basically, January is a really interesting month where things actually do really get better for you and where you start to feel like you have the necessary components to create what you've wanted to create. But there's also a need in January to sort of distress or count everything that has come together, to see everything from a new vantage point and to see everything in a really new way. If things are feeling really old or really stagnant, we have a lot of Capricorn energy here. We have, inner planets in Capricorn, Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto in Capricorn. We're starting off with a bit of what can be seen as doom and gloom, because when Scorpio and Capricorn energy connect, there can be a lot of serious, doomful, gloomful experiences that come in. And what you can see as a Scorpio is that you might want to just destroy it all, or you might want to just leave it all behind, or you might want to just take a really big chance on something really new or something really away from the status quo of what your life has consisted of. And that's really not the key for January for Scorpio. So I want to really come in right away for you guys and say that this month is not about huge changes or huge new beginnings. You have to continue on with something. And if it naturally begins to change, or if your environment naturally begins to reflect a change within that, that's fine. But the only red flag that I see for you guys this month is really destroying everything or destroying the progress that you've made just to prove that you can, or just to show yourself how powerful you are now. It's almost like having too much, so you're going to spend too much. Like if you hypothetically, if you were to have so much money, you would spend so much money. It's sort of the energy that I'm feeling. Almost like, wow, I've made a certain amount of money this month. I'm going to spend more money than I've ever spent this month just to see that on my bank statement, just to show myself how powerful I've become and to show myself that I'm no longer impoverished. It's that type of thing. I feel that Scorpio has something to prove to itself this month. And I think that that's, really needing to be left behind here. It's kind of like this Capricorn consolidation energy comes in, and it wants to see Scorpio have recorded versions of its power. So seeing all the money on the bank statement and saying, that's my power. Or seeing that you've been elected to some kind of public office and seeing your name in the roster or something and saying, that's my power. Or, buying a really expensive house or a really expensive car and signing the debt papers and having it officialized or notarized or whatever, any of this type of thing, and seeing it in tangible material place and saying, that's my power. Look how powerful I am. I have these documents, or I have, there's something about documents for Scorpio and about checks or debts or things like this. So this is typically what happens when you see Scorpio and Capricorn energy come together. You do see money implications, you see legal implications, you see things that are in black and white. And yes, for some Scorpios, this a month like this, where there's all this Capricorn energy, can result in creating the company that you never expected to be in the top 5% or something. Or you can create a company, you can you can do the divorce, you can do the financing for some incredible project, and it can all make you seem very powerful on paper. But there's also a commitment within those lines as well. You have to kind of watch out to what you commit to in January, and you really want to parse it out and make sure that it's what you want to put your time toward. I feel that Scorpio truly finds its power this month through being able to understand what its time goes to, and being able to understand what their time, energy, and money are just going to, because it might be really cool to see that you've been able to make more money than you've ever made before, or been able to finally get married and finally have that marriage certificate and say wow, I'm not alone anymore. I'm not again, it's these tangible tangible like documents that prove something about commitments, okay, or prove something about expenditures that Scorpio is over-identifying within their power system. So it's really good for some Scorpio, and some Scorpios need to do this and need to work on this and see it, but it also can only give you that much. And I feel like that's really the key with Scorpio is like, how much am I expecting to receive energetically, or when it comes to happiness, or when it comes to contentment? How much of that am I expecting to receive from these documents, or from these material representations of what my energy have gone to? Because if there's too much expectation placed in that, you could see an experience like is depicted in the third week of this reading, where you've got like the Tower and the Nine of Swords, where you do it all and you spend all the money and you get all the recognition, or you get all of the things that you've wanted, but there's not really anything real there. And you start to see that you've searched for something real in what has been societally boosted as real, to find that there was nothing really real there. So yeah, it's really a more spiritual month than you might anticipate with all the Capricorn energy. Like, we think that maybe spirituality is less potent here with Capricorn time. You know, it's all about the material world, so on and so forth. But again, Capricorn is the sea goat. There is a water connotation with Capricorn. So above the surface, there is that material splendor. There's that, climb the vertical facing wall, deal with the material world. But then beneath the surface, there's an unknown depth, and there's an unknown sort of need to explore what is beneath there. So you, as a Scorpio, this is what you do really well, and this is why Scorpio and Capricorn energy can come together in really positive ways and really negative ways, is because that exploration process of the unknown, of the depths, of that which is beneath these material traditional power systems, it can get messy, and it can get dirty, and it can get it can be like shackles, like in the Devil card. And you guys don't have that here, which I'm happy to see. But I want you guys to really watch out for creating problems for yourself in January. Really watch out for creating hassles or creating things, because you'll know what it is. You'll know what you need to do. For some of you, yeah, you need to make the company, or you need to make the adoption papers, or the marriage contracts, or all of these things, or the divorce contracts, or all of these things that are Capricorn energy. Those need to be finalized, or those need to get closure. But you want to also have something beneath it, okay? You want to have something underneath that. Because that's where Scorpio can mess up sometimes with Capricorn energy, because Scorpio already sort of knows the watery depths. It sort of already knows what's going on with the deepness and the darkness. And it sees an energy like Capricorn, and it thinks, wow, that's all about money. That's all about material. That's all about the black and white. And it jumps onto that, or it latches onto that, and doesn't realize that it's deepened itself even further. And that's not really what Scorpio needs. Scorpio does not really need a deepening energy. So this is why Capricorn and Scorpio relationships, for example, can be so unpredictable and can be so volatile, because sometimes there's really, really good natural synergy or harmony and really natural like a value connection, but then it's also, there's sort of a like, what you see is not what you get. And there's a sense, especially of Scorpio latching onto Capricorn and realizing that there's no measurement for what is beneath. So there's an element of that here for you guys this month, and you want to really add definition to your life. And that's why that's channeling out maybe in this material sense with like the contracts or the statements or the documents or whatever it is. You're trying to really define your life in what way that you can. But that's going to be an aspect of it, but there's also going to be a part of that you can only do on the inside. You know, Four of Cups, Queen of Swords, the Emperor, the Hermit, and the Hanged Man. It's not going to be about the tangible this month for you guys. And I'm surprised that I'm saying that, because I think that I might have expected to come into Scorpio's reading during this Capricorn season and think, yeah, it's going to be about the material world for Scorpio. But by latching onto that, it becomes not about that. By choosing it as such, it becomes different. So you want to really be careful for how you do define things, but find definition in your own spirit or in your own selfhood, okay? Again, as you guys might have seen, I'm not really going into the individual week to week in this form of tarot reading this month, because you guys can see it here. But the first week, I'll go through it a little bit. The first week of January is just a time to understand how things have ended, okay, or how things are going to end. Again, we're in a confusing time where society has elected a completely nonsensical time of year for a new energy, new year, January. It is not a new energy. It is Capricorn time. It is an old energy. It is a continuance. It is a maintenance energy. So first week of January, you're going to see, okay, I want this to be over. I want to be finished with doing things in this way or that way, or I want to move or whatever it is, but it won't quite be time yet. But you have to realize that you're having these feelings and not continue whatever is stagnant past late March of 2020, because that's when we get into the true new year, is during Aries time. So March 21st is the true new energy. It starts the light period of the year. We are still in the dark period, in the northern hemisphere at least, and we are still learning from that. So first week of January, pay attention to what you don't want anymore, okay? Pay attention to what is stale, what is not fun, what needs to be innovated. You can plant seeds during, like spiritual seeds. You can plant proverbial seeds during the first week of January to be sprouting up during the true new year, during March. So like, okay, I see that I want to change my business in this way, or I see that I want to change my career or my routine, my health habits in this way. You can start to plant those seeds there. That's very supported. But you have to really plan it out, and you have to get maybe a little bit strategic too with Queen of Swords. Strategy within your ending phases is very supported for you guys. In that second week, you have the Hanged Man rooted down by Four of Cups. So all about you. This is not a week to be spending with other people, or it's not that you can't be with other people, but it's a personal week. It's a week of really understanding, again, why you've been seeking such a material outlet for your own definition of power. Okay, so we want to sort of start finding power that is more intangible for you guys. And this is such an interesting message for you, because I really expected it to be the other way around for Scorpio. But I think with maybe having had Saturn in your sign, about 6 years ago, with having had Pluto in Capricorn, your planet in Saturn's sign, there's already been plenty of emphasis on the material. So it's interesting to see how it's almost a double negative, and it changes the Capricorn energy from a purely material one to a more spiritual energy. This is a very spiritual week for you, seeing what has trapped you, seeing what has kept you inside, and what needs to be learned from that. And again, it doesn't mean that there aren't material implications. There are for everybody in January, but for you, that's not where your power is defined. It's not within those material implications. Week number 3, Scorpios. I know that's the one that we're kind of freaking out a little bit about, but it could actually be a blessing in disguise. Try to not get too worked up about what you truly know is a blessing. So maybe you're getting less traction, maybe a business or a goal or a relationship you've been relying on for a long time. Maybe it's time for it to finish up, or maybe it just naturally falls through, and it's like maybe there's a muscle memory to really be upset about that. But if you could kind of see that it's what you've wanted, what I'm hearing about the third week and whatever comes up in the third week is it was something that was necessary. It was something that was needed. It was necessary for it to come together. Watch out for dark dealings with other people. Watch out for other people trying to get you to sign on the dotted line. Watch out for what you sign during the month of January. Best to not sign too much, best to not be committing yourself, and not even like physically signing, but like karmic contracts to watch out for what you commit yourself to in the third week of January. It's really not the time for any commitments, because it feels like it takes a lot. But again, for some of you, if it's been happening for a long time, I don't want to freak you out because it can be good. Some people can really succeed. Some people can really do well with these commitments, but also just realize that anything that blocks what you put your mind to during the month of January will probably fall through. So if you finally wanted to do the album, or if you finally wanted to be the CEO of this company, you might see that your family relationships are what are preventing you from doing it. And you might see, if you really put your mind to doing the album or being the CEO, that the family relationships just become an obstacle in the way that sort of dissolve in the face of this goal. So watch out for being hyper goal oriented, because you could see that anything in the way kind of gets mowed over, and there needs to be sort of a reconnaissance, or there needs to be a resolve to understand, instead of bowling over, which Scorpio doesn't tend to do this, but it's that Uranus and Taurus all this Capricorn energy, it's giving you more of a like more of a Taurus, again, Taurus Scorpio axis. Sometimes Taurus connect like Scorpio, sometimes Scorpio connect like Taurus. You're more of a Taurus this month where you're just like kind of bowling over anything in your way if you're not watching out. So make sure that that's something that you're okay with losing, or something that you're okay with disconnecting from. And because there can be an unthinking aspect, okay, I just need to sign on the dotted line, I just need to spend the money, I just need to get the job, I just need to, get the album out there, whatever it is. And there can sort of be like but like, oh yeah, my parent is chronically ill, and the time is numbered, like there's not a lot of time left. But again, I'm signing on the dotted line, I'm doing this like material thing, I'm just bowling that over and moving into that. So priorities are very emphasized for Scorpio this month. Where are your priorities now? They do have to be defined here. That can be another thing. 9 of Swords is oftentimes not knowing what your priorities are. Okay, oftentimes not knowing what to do first, what to sort through first, having too much on the back burner, yet too much on your plate at the same time. So you're going to fix that in the third week. The third week of January is a blessing, Scorpio. Don't doubt it. I know that the Tower and 9 of Swords, they kind of have an ominous looking artwork, but they archetypally represent nature. They represent nature. It is a storm. It is a flood. It is to a degree dangerous, but it's also necessary, because without that, there's no cleansing, there's no purging, and there's like just really like inability to live. There's like a purgatorial energy without those archetypes. So don't be afraid of that, but do understand what changes need to be made, because oftentimes they are depicting an oncoming change. But through understanding your priorities, your standards, and your own power, that is going to be a vital sort of I don't want to say weapon in your, but it's sort of what it's like. I do feel a kind of warring energy about Scorpio. It's that Mars, Mars was in Scorpio, and it's moving into Sag. So Mars was in your sign. You might sort of still be on the war path. You want to watch out for that. You want to beware of being too Aryan. King of Wands is your central theme. You have the Emperor, so you can like really proclaim war against people, or proclaim that no, things aren't all right. I'm not willing to be peaceful. I'm not willing to have things the easy way. I'm going to make this really hard on myself. That Scorpio can do that during Capricorn energy as well. It can make things a lot more complicated than they have to be. It can make things a lot more bloody than they have to be, proverbially. Hopefully. It can make things, just a lot more consuming of energy than they have to be, because Scorpio and Capricorn are both very hardworking signs, and both represent, very solid energy lines. Scorpio and Capricorn right now, if we were to look at all of the zodiac and the sort of extending branches of energy, both of those energy lines are very linear and very compacted and very defined energy lines. They're not very wispy. They're not very flexible energy lines right now. Scorpio will change quicker than Capricorn. Capricorn will be in that frame for quite a while, for the next 2 or 3 years. Scorpio, I can't put a date to it, but Scorpio is there right now. It's being activated by Capricorn in that way. So my point being is that these are defined energy lines. So if, as humans, and we are Scorpio Capricorn people, if that is the case and we're feeling undefined, that's why there is this, is because there's a demand for definition, but also a demand to not fall into old, really sort of archaic, dense energy systems, which is not what they currently are. I know this is so complicated and abstract. It's not what they are, but it's reminiscent. So there's like a muscle memory that is uncomfortable in January for some. But then there are some Scorpios too who have overcome this, and who, in the first week see, okay, I've got to let go of this. I've got to plant the seeds for the new future. And you can kind of actually bypass that turgid experience of the third week. And what is left in the fourth week, Scorpio, is extremely, extremely good. Okay, really, really good stuff there. If you can get through the first 3 weeks of January with resolve, with an understanding of what you need to do, with a preparation for actually truly healing the continued broken pieces. You come into the fourth week with a good amount of self-power. The Emperor and the Hermit together are a wonderful combination of energies because it says that you have power over your own life while not being afraid of seeing what is out of alignment or not being afraid of seeing what still needs work. So it's that great energy of the Emperor, which is decisive, absolute, careful, and strategic, but it's not letting the Emperor go into ego mode where it's like a power trip. Like the Hermit balances it and makes it more spiritual and more more integrity. There's more integrity in the Emperor with the Hermit connected to it. So it's a great combination, and I think all Scorpios will get to that by the fourth week, but we just want as little collateral damage getting there. So just really keep your mind on that, Scorpio. Like, you're not in a bad way this month. I want to really make that clear. There are signs that struggle a lot more, but you just have a lot of pressure due to the way that Capricorn energy connects to you right now. So it's just not really a forgettable time. It's a very formidable time. It's very formidable and it's not forgetful. So it's not forgettable. And you are adventuring through it. King of Wands is your central theme. There's a want to become more adventurous. There's a want to do things in a more stylish way, maybe, or to maybe get more creative with how you are outputting. And it's really interesting to see you guys stepping into a new phase or into a new era of your own creative output. So thank you so much for being here, Scorpio. I'm going to conclude your reading on that note. If you are new here, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I would so appreciate to have you here. If you subscribe, you'll get notifications when Scorpio readings go out in the future if you hit the bell button. So be sure to do that. I have all of my links below if you would like your natal chart, a written report for your natal chart to understand your own energy better. I have those on sale right now for 2020. You can use the code 2020 on my website to get them at discount. So that will be very temporary, and once they're sold out, they're sold out. So I can only do so many, but that's linked below. Also, if you guys wanted a private reading, or if you wanted to get these readings early and ad-free, all of that is clearly laid out in the description box. So thank you guys so much for being here. We will be talking soon. Much love. Bye.